e to the I theta can be expressed as cos theta plus I sine theta. So let's look at some key examples. If theta is equal to 0, then e to the I times 0 is just e to the 0, so that must be equal to 1. So that's the left-hand side of this equation. If we punch in 0 into the right-hand side, then we end up with cos 0 plus I sine 0. Well, cos theta is 1, sine 0 is 0, so that also gives us 1. So the right-hand side matches the left. What if we have theta equals pi over 2? Well, it's a little more complicated to kind of work out directly what this is. We'd have to kind of expand this, which we're not going to do in this video. But let's look at the right-hand side. That would give us cos of pi over 2 plus I sine pi over 2. Well, cos of pi over 2 is 0. Sine of pi over 2 is 1, so we get the value I. Now if we make theta equal to pi, I'll put that in there actually, we have e to the I pi is equal to cos pi plus I sine pi. Well, sine pi is 0, so the imaginary part disappears. Cos of pi is negative 1. And one more, if theta is equal to 3 pi over 2, then we have e to the I 3 pi over 2 is cos of 3 pi over 2 plus I sine 3 pi over 2. This one is 0, but this one is equal to negative 1, so we end up with negative I. So let's take a look at those 4 on the Argand diagram. So we've got e to the I multiplied by 0 here, that's equal to 1. If we go to e to the I pi over 2, notice the argument of that would be pi over 2, and the value is I. E to the I pi is negative 1, and e to the I 3 pi over 2 is minus I. Okay, so notice that the angle we put in here, if we were to draw a little vector, it's always the angle that is the argument of the complex number. Okay, so for e to the I pi, we've got pi radians going around there, and we'd have 3 pi over 2 if I drew in the vector that's pointing straight down here. So using e to the I theta, we can describe any complex number providing the modulus is equal to 1. So the mod of e to the I theta is always going to be equal to 1, and we could kind of map out a circle with that little vector, that complex number. So if we plot e to the I theta, we know the modulus is going to be 1, and whatever angle we put in here in radians, that's going to be the argument of that same complex number.